Yesterday, we were talking a little bit about T. Higgins, and it seems like T. Higgins in D.C., I'm not going to say it's dead, but it seems unlikely.
Yeah.
All reports are that they're working on a contract in Cincinnati, and if they don't agree to a contract, they're going to slap the franchise tag on him for the second time, and it's unlikely he's going to leave Cincinnati. They're really supposedly, maybe it's a new era of the Cincinnati Bengals. For years and years, they were known as cheap. Now they feel like they're trying to keep Burrow, Chase, and Higgins.
Well, I think they're still
together.
viewed as pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Like kind of antiquated way of doing things.
I mean, if you tag him again, you're still kind of being cheap because you're only paying him for the 1 year.
I mean, it's still
It's
still the same power structure there in Cincinnati.
I mean, think about it. Jamar Chase is arguably the best receiver in the game.
Yeah.
They haven't. I mean, he wanted a new deal before this year, and then he just played under. What was he making? Like $14 million?
I think that's right. Something. I
mean, they didn't ink him to a long-term deal.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, other receivers are cashing in, like CeeDee Lamb. All the top guys are getting paid, and he's just sitting there waiting.
So now they're going to have to pay two. I mean, if they pay Higgins, I mean, they might just be tagging him because they want to make a trade. But I can't believe they haven't inked, Chase to a long-term deal. He's fantastic.
So we talked about Higgins. It seems unlikely that
yeah.
Higgins is going to leave Cincinnati this year. And now it seems like Chris Godwin, who was number 2 on the list, may not be available. Reports are that Godwin is working on a new contract that would keep him in Tampa. He's always played in Tampa. He's 28 years old, entire career there.
And don't you want continuity for Baker Mayfield along with Mike Evans, especially with Liam Cohen departing in the offseason and going to coach for the Jags? Like, you want your top weapons around your quarterback. So that makes sense. The Bucs want to keep him in the fold, especially if he's healthy and recuperating from that injury.
How discouraging is this if you're a Commanders fan? If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067. I don't know how many conversations that we've had over the months about T. Higgins. All right, if you cross out T. Higgins and you cross out Chris Godwin, according to PFF, the next highest rated free agent wide receiver is Amari Cooper, who seems to have been on 100 teams already.
He's just not sexy at this point. He's a competent guy, but I wouldn't be excited about that.
At this point, if I'm Adam Peters, I'm looking at what's left on the market, assuming Godwin signs in Tampa, and I might just have to turn my direction towards the draft to find my receiver.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do I really want to sign Hollywood Brown or Stefon Diggs coming off of an
I
ACL
wouldn't want
tear?
any of those guys.
But
you mentioned Christian Kirk yesterday.
Christian Kirk is kind of intriguing, but the problem with him is he has a hard time staying healthy.
Yeah, it's a lot of these guys.
And he's kind of a smaller receiver.
And he's under contract.
Correct.
But the assumption is that
be a casualty.
What's Debo's deal?
Debo Samuel, you have to trade for him.
Yeah.
He's under contract too. Yeah. Dude, I'm just
now. The 49ers have told him, all right, go find a team or go find a trade, and then we'll listen.
Here's the problem
Still
with
might
Amari
not make
Cooper.
any sense for them.
I mean, Amari Cooper's first couple of seasons in Cleveland, so he played in Oakland for the first 4 years of his career. Then he played in Dallas for 4 seasons, and during those 8 seasons, he was over 1,000 yards half of the seasons. Right. Then in Cleveland, I mean, he had kind of bomb years. I guess this is during the height of Deshaun Watson. He had 9 touchdowns, 1,160 yards. Then the following year, 1,250 yards, just 5 touchdowns. But then 2024 was just a bust. Half the time in Cleveland, half the time in Buffalo. He ended up with 4 touchdowns. It just seemed like Josh Allen liked everybody else more than Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of brought in to be the number one guy, but he wasn't.
Yeah, if I'm Peters, I'm just going to look at that landscape and say, none of those options are very attractive, and I'm going to have to overpay because I'm going to get in a bidding war with somebody for Stefon Diggs or Amari Cooper. I think he's just going to look at like a second or third round pick and find a guy he likes, and that's going to be his.
I think it's a bigger issue for the fans than it is for them. They scored 30 points a game. They will find somebody. They'll find an upgrade. It may not be to your liking, but they will. And maybe it will be through the draft.
Or maybe they go out and pluck a guy who's like a second or third tier free agent, but they think that based on what they can do offensively in the system, then they can put up numbers.
Why aren't we higher on Diggs? 800-636-1067. Okay, he got hurt last year. Before that, he had 6 straight seasons over 1,000 yards.
No, he's dynamite. But he has.
But how old is he?
31.
Yeah, do you want to go out and get a 31-year-old?
Written all over him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather have a guy who's 22 or 23 or 27?
I'd rather have a young.
Ideally, but
you still can do that.
We've talked about, and other people have talked about it, that given the situation they have right now with Jaden Daniels, you're rebuilding and recalibrating and all that stuff, but you're also going for it right now. You're right there. So why wouldn't you want somebody that's extremely productive? Now, he got hurt last year, but the year before that, 107 catches. The year before that, 108 catches. The year before, 100. He had 4 straight seasons over 100 catches.
If they made a move for him or signed him, I'd be sized. We got Stefon Diggs, of course. But I'm not sure that they're going to go in that direction.
He had 4 straight seasons over 100 catches, 6 straight over 1,000 yards until this past season, which was derailed by injury.
His age and his diva qualities scare me off.
They scare me a little bit too. He could be a toxic influence on Jaden.
If he's not getting the ball thrown to him enough,
do I need him yelling at Jaden?
Yeah,
do I need that?
Does Jaden want that?
I'm sure Jaden can handle himself.
Right.
As somebody pointed out yesterday in one of these tweets, Jaden's only 1 year younger than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has been a pro for how many years now? Like 5 years, 6 years?
I have a name, and this name, it might get laughed at because of what happened to him this past year. But just hear me out. Deontay Johnson. Now, you're not going to find a guy whose value and whose street value is lower because he was bouncing around from team to team to team. He's kind of a weirdo. But maybe Dan Quinn can get his hands on him and say, look, what's happened these last year has been an embarrassment. You're on 3 different teams. You're bitching about your role in Baltimore. They got rid of you.
He was bitching about his role everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But, go look at that dude's numbers in
numbers.
Pittsburgh before he went on this weird odyssey. Like, maybe that's a guy that they could roll the dice with that doesn't cost a lot. And he's not your number 2 wideout, but he'd make for a really good number 3 wideout if his head's on straight. You just laugh.
Why would I want Deontay Johnson over Stefon Diggs? Are you telling me to rather have him than Stefon Diggs?
Because he's cheaper.
But he's also less productive.
True.
He's had one 1,000-yard season. But you know what else he telling me to look at his numbers in Pittsburgh. Okay, he had 1 really good season. Maybe you could say 2 really good seasons.
Again, I'm not saying this is your solution. I'm saying he's like the 2025 version of like Noah Brown.
Someone's going to sign.
You know what I mean? Like he's not your number 2 wideout, but I would bring him in the building and see if there's anything left that I can mine out of him.
I think I'd rather bring back Noah Brown.
I think Deontay Johnson, if his head is on correct, is a better player than Noah Brown.
Real quick, what about just looking at the draft and where are we going to pick in the draft?
29.
So
what about somebody projected? They say he's 32 ranked overall prospect, the receiver from Ohio State. Looks like a
Buka?
beast. Yeah,
I think he might go
higher than that. He's a 3rd ranked receiver, but they say overall his ranking is 32.
Where's Trey Harris ranked?
49, but 4th receiver, but 49 overall.
Now, the thing I like about Harris is his size.
Is that the dude out of Ole Miss?
And he came from a pass-happy offense.
Yeah.
Buka looks strong, though. He's good. He's only 6'1", but he looks strong.
I think that they'll probably, if they don't get
Ohio State Brotherhood with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Oh, that could work.
Could be.
Again, I don't think it's a primary need. I would address the O-line, D-line.
I don't think it's a primary need either, but if Peters loves him and he's there at 29 and it fills a need, I could see him making that the first
I don't know if he's definitely not a 2nd-round pick, but Ty Felton from Maryland, I like him.
Yeah, let's go to the phones. 800-636.
Might be a 3rd or 4th rounder, but I like him.
1067 if you want to chime in on the wide receiver dilemma for the Commanders. It looks like the top 2 guys on the free agency board in T. Higgins and Chris Godwin, they are likely to return to their teams.
Remember, you got to take character and everything into account.
Totally.
You have to. That's where I'm a little bit concerned about Diggs.
These guys definitely value that in the locker room.
Let's go to Reese. Reese, what's up, man? You're on with the Junks.
What's up, buddy? How y'all doing?
What's up?
Hey, Reese.
All right, I figure like this: if we can't get near one of them, then there's the next best thing. You go get yourself 2 top offensive linemen, and you go get the best running back available that can shift, and that'll make up for it because Jaden Daniels did it with the receivers he got, and he didn't have an offensive line, and then he didn't have a scat back. So you do the next best thing. You don't pressure yourself in trying to do something and give up all these picks when you don't need to. Just do the next best thing. You go get 2 offensive linemen and a dominating running back, and that'll make up for it. And you can go get Keenan Allen or somebody like that just to throw in there.
Thanks, pal.
Right,
I wouldn't say they didn't have an offensive line.
And
The offensive line performed better than you'd expect if you look at some of the rankings.
And
was it as good as the Eagles' offensive line? No,
of course not.
No, but you would
it
agree,
wasn't bad.
But you would agree they do need to make some adjustments there. They
And
have to make some additions.
he had a pretty good scat back named Austin Eckler when he was healthy, before he got concussed. He was actually a nice boost to the offense.
All right, let's go to Rod in Landover. Rod, what's up?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Rod.
What's up?
Hey, look, so I think wide receiver is a need for this team. And the reason why I say that is because, when we was playing against the Eagles, man, it was obvious that we did not have enough weapons.
Yeah.
So I think we need to. I think we should do it in the draft. It's quite a few good receivers in this draft. I think we should get whether it be a big receiver, a speedy receiver, anything. We need a receiver. So I think they should do it in the draft. I actually like Austin Eckler, man. If the type of back that he is, catch, run, if we could find somebody in the draft like him or keep him. But I think we need a receiver, and I think we should spend all our money we have in free agency on the defensive side of the ball and just find the offensive players in the draft. That's what I think.
That's fair.
Well, they're going to definitely go out there and look at these young receivers, no doubt, in the draft. The free agent list isn't great. I mean, at the top it is, but it's not great in the middle. But I still believe that they have the confidence, and Kingsbury probably has the confidence that he can put anybody in there based on the system. And with Jaden, they can make it work, and he can put up numbers.
800
this year.
636-1067 is the number. It seems like some of the top receivers are likely to stay with their team. So what do you want the Commanders to do this offseason at wide receiver?